Colorado, and welcome to today's political update. This being Thursday, the 29th of June, getting ready to head to July. And we'll start off today with a community meeting that was called by Brian Delormier, a community member who had concerns about taxation and the direction that the community was going in. And we spoke to Chief KahnawakeTV, who was at the meeting, for her comments.
His presentation revolved around some of the policies that Canada has been utilizing to basically have First Nations terminate and extinguish their rights, such as First Nation Land Management Act, self-government, etc. And then Brian pulled out a list of all of the First Nations that have signed on to self-government. I asked him, I said, so is Kahnawake on that list? He said, not yet. I said, that's not what I asked. And he said, well, no. And I said, exactly. I said, and that's what council gets accused of, that we've been negotiating for all these years, that we're selling out the community, that we're trying to bring in taxation, none of which is true. So there were 6 council members that attended last night, and unfortunately, the first meeting he called, not one of us attended, and it made it look like we had something to hide, which isn't the reality. So I think the 6 of us that were there last night, myself, Grand Chief Joe Norton, Arlene, Gina, Rhonda, and Chief Clinton Phillips, we're able to deflate some of the misinformation that he had been putting on social media, getting the community all riled up that we're doing, our community a disservice, and that, maybe being underhanded and secretive and conspiring, and everything that was basically thrown out there, we were able to diffuse. I think he intends to probably call more meetings. At the end, he did express that he probably went about this the wrong way. Because, a few of us did talk about how difficult it is to be in this position when you're constantly trying to defend your actions, when community members come up with, these theories, I guess we could call it, about what it actually is that we're doing without ever even taking the time to contact us, meet with us, and get the right information. It's one thing to go and research and make your own interpretations and then put that out there as fact is kind of irresponsible. But, as I said, I commend Brian for trying. He obviously has the best interests of the community at heart, but I think he forgets that, we're all community members. We're all born and raised here, and that, the community comes first for us too, and that some of the misinformation that he's putting out there just wasn't accurate, and we had to participate last night and give the community our perspective and show them exactly what it is that we are doing.
A piece of history was recently dismantled across from the Catholic Church. It was the original communication center. The platform that was sometimes known as Four Corners was dismantled because of safety reasons. We spoke to Chief Kenneth McCumber for an update on that situation.
Yes, well, what happened was, since prior to it coming down, we had to take it down, as you were, for safety reasons. It got to the point where it was now something that had to be done, and it was brought to our attention by people coming out of church and people in the community. And I was glad, there's a lot of interest in it. So anyway, it did come down, and now that it's down, people have coming up with different ideas. What should we do with that site? Should we leave it, clean it, put benches out there, plaques, a gazebo? Things like that. So I'm glad to see that there's an interest in the community. So anyway, we are looking at something out there right now. We have a summer student, a graphic arts student, working on a conceptual design for a plaque. And if you notice, we took the stone and we moved it closer to the where the map is right there. So probably sometime in the future we'll have a plaque out there with a drawing of what the podium did look like, and as our first communication center. And, we have other things that are going on, and probably a couple of benches. So we're just glad that one is cleaned up prior to the powwow. People were concerned about it, that it was an eyesore. Can you do something? So, I'm looking forward to do something with it and beautifying the area. If you notice, part of the wall, the fort was taken down, but that stone is stored nearby. And they said if you ever want to incorporate it into a design, it's there. It's just that we didn't get there yet, It's just that we just want to clean it up right now for the summer and maybe put a couple of benches, because as you're aware, there's no place to sit out there. So, that's a good start, and then who knows? Maybe within the year or near future, something more permanent will be brought up.
Just a couple of notes here. The summer school bus service is now underway because there's no summer school. There's no school during the summer, but the buses are available for rent. If you'd like to do so, you can call the town garage 632-5825 and talk to Robert Montour, who is the manager over there, and they give you a good deal, that's for sure. And finally, and you know, we put out a lot of public service announcements here at the Mohawk Council of Kahnawake, and usually there's no response, but for some reason, the paving of Daibo Road has, you know, caused a few people to call up and ask details on that. Actually, people are excited about it because Daibo Road, of course, is kind of a rough area. So they're going to be doing the work, and it's going to be starting right about now. It's going to take 3 or 4 weeks because they have some work they have to do still to kind of remove some of the trees that are in the way. They have to realign some of the properties because it was kind of a rush job to get through there in the first place. But what's happened is people in other areas are saying, well, that's great, but what about us? So stay tuned. We'll keep you up to date on other projects that are coming up so that we'll have nice roads throughout Kahnawake. Of course, most of our roads are nice, but there's still some work that needs to be done. So that's our update this time around. Enjoy your summer, and we'll be talking to you shortly. Take care.